What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to introduce a new segment to my channel, the Council Podcast. This is a podcast that was set up by Kin, and it hosts me, Sanjita, Tassanex, and Calvin Awesome. This is the second episode. I didn't record the first one because I wasn't sure if this was going to be an ongoing thing or not. But this is the second episode, and you can expect to see these pretty much at the end of every GAC season, I think, going forward. I think we're a pretty solid crew after the first episode, and yeah, so we're pretty much going to be talking all things PvE and PvP related. Mostly PvP, but, the new raid came out, so that kind of got brought up a little bit. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you in the next one.
The audio. And great. Well, thank you guys very much for showing up for another, now we can say this is our recurring monthly The Council, where we talk about everything PvP related mostly, I guess, and other things going on with the game. So with us today, we have the regulars, Calvin, Sanjita, Tassanex, and Van Seal. You guys want to go around and do a little introduction? We'll start with Van Seal today. Go backwards.
Yeah, backwards. So I'm Vanciel. I stream on both YouTube and Twitch and do YouTube videos. I primarily focus on territory wars and stuff that's not GAC related, I guess. And also the raid. I really, really dig this new raid. I don't know why, but I just really like it. I don't know if I'm just built backwards or something like that, but I just like the raid.
Cool. Yeah, it's in some ways better than I was fearing, I guess. But Tassanex, how about you?
Heyo, I'm Tassanex. I stream on Twitch when I can, usually once a week when we have GAC on. I have a podcast on YouTube with a few other higher rated players called Plotting and Scheming. We covered the week in review for GAC, and yeah, that's about it.
Thank you very much. Happy as always to have you here. Sanjita.
Yeah, hey guys, Sanjita. You may or may not be watching this on my channel or listening to it on Kin's podcast. I just do YouTube, spelled Songeta. Try to do stuff almost every day. Big focus on Grand Arena, but little odds and ends as that come up. Trying to rank stuff and this or that. So, yeah.
Well, very happy to have you here as well. And last, but certainly, well, no, I'm last. So, Calvin, you're next then.
Yeah, so I'm Calvin Awesome. I primarily make videos on YouTube. The channel's big focus is about roster growth and development, kind of trying to prioritize out what's most important first and kind of the nuances of how certain team compositions work. On top of that, I also do stream my GACs every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's quite the hoot.
Thank you very much. As always, I love watching your streams to see what things I can try and avoid in my own GAC.
Nice the 6 o'clock timing is great.
Yeah. And I'm Kin. I really enjoy GAC. I do most stuff GAC related. I have the counters listing. We're now over 5,000 of them. It's crazy. At grandarenascience.com. And I do this podcast thing and occasionally some YouTube videos, but mostly I watch other people's YouTube videos, so I don't have to think as much myself. And with that, let's go ahead and dive in. We sort of have three broad subjects here, and the first one is, I guess, the simplest. Maybe Calvin, you want to start? How did your season go? Like, what happened for GAC, or even TW if you wanted, or stuff you've been testing, new characters, or whatever? What happened your last season?
Oh man, this season was weird for me, man. So I climbed fairly well last season. I don't have Layet, so I was just expecting to get smacked down, but I was able to get creative enough with the Datacrons this time around that we went 6-3. But even then, like this last week was just a heart attack and a half. On average, every battle was decided by 7 banners, whether I won or they won.
Wow.
It was super. My last one that I won by 1 banner. And it was like, geez, I'm glad I didn't take a 5th with C versus Malicos. But yeah, so it was actually really good. I felt like I've kind of finally come into my own with having enough characters, or not enough characters, but most characters about Relic 3, Relic 5 to be able to use a Datacron on every single team. or a good Datacron on every single team. So yeah, that's pretty much how it went. And I had a great time.
Did you have any of the set 12 Datacrons for the last week? Did you roll any of those?
No.
Or
No, but luckily neither did any of my opponents. That was actually my big concern of going into every single match. Because my first opponent put Afra on defense, and my immediate response was, crap. And I went and looked at it, and it was like set 10 or something like that. I was like, all right, we're good. Hux has no problems then.
Yeah, I have seen. I didn't see it in GAC, but I've heard like, and seen some arena tests, and even some TW stuff, where Afra still gets rolled by pretty much anything because set 12 has no defensive stats. Like it's
Yeah, and
If
her
she gets
AI
going-
still
Yeah.
does the incorrect move, so you have a very small window to kind of get her.
yeah.
Yeah,
And actually-
defensively, it's probably isn't its home.
No.
I think actually I saw on your stream or one of your videos or something, Calvin, you used Huxley versus Afra in.
Oh yeah,
some
killed her in the
fight.
opening move.
Yeah, I think that's really, really smart, especially in set 12, because without the
Yeah.
defensive stats, like stop returns and just steamroll her.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
the first
especially in
time
the
I've
age
heard of
when-
that.
Oh, because you
Sorry, I was
stopped the
gonna say,
100%
that's
turn
the-
meter.
Yeah, she doesn't get third meter.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
just-
I was
she
gonna
just
say it's
go.
the first time I've heard of it, but it makes immediate sense to me. That's very clever.
Yeah.
I remember doing it back in what's set 6 or something when we had the Afra DC last
Yeah,
time.
when it first
Yeah.
came around.
Yep. It was like
Yeah.
6 or 7, yeah.
But I only tried it in 3s actually, just Hux, Trooper, and First Order TIE Pilot.
I-
That's right around when the First Order TIE Pilot Omicron came. out.
Yeah, because I think our first GAC with Afra was 3v3. And then,
Okay,
and then I think
that's-
people realized she's better on offense, and then you never saw her on defense at 5s.
Yeah. I really don't. I'm very curious how she does on offense because I don't remember using her that much, or I don't remember her like hitting up so much in 3s at least.
I feel like she can take Java at least in 5s. I don't know about 3v3.
Yeah, I remember 5s. She took
I'm-
Java. She took JMK. I mean, she just
Lord Vader.
Lord. Oh, yeah. It just
Great against
yeah,
Lord Vader.
pretty much just about everything. It was she's pretty nuts.
I'm pretty
I'd be
stoked though
willing to
because
bet.
I didn't have Afra unlocked last time.
Yeah.
So this is my first time getting to use it, and I saw a lot of fun
It's
stuff
fun.
on offense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Tass?
I feel like for 3s, if you have those Omicrons on the murder droids, and now if you happen to have, the Datacron, like I very much doubt there is a Jabba that can withstand Afra in 3s now coming up.
What
That's
about without
interesting.
those Omicrons?
It is the
Without
same
those
exact
Omicrons?
viability without the Omicrons. They're
Yeah,
hot
no,
garbage.
you just pretty much.
Yeah, I
outpace
feel
them.
like
It's
they're
crazy.
not. I don't feel like they're. I only had them maybe for one whole 3 season myself now, and I got them because I had them burning in my pocket. I didn't need them elsewhere, so they're nice to have. But Lord knows, I've been doing great things with Afra for a long time without them. So I'll echo that.
The one defensive.
I will
comp
say
that remember-
3POs is better than BT1s.
Yes,
Or not
it is.
3PO, triple zeros.
Yeah,
triple
triple
zeros is
zeros.
actually somewhat decent if you get stuck on something.
Yeah, the
Okay.
defensive comp last time her Datacron was around, and I remember this actually hard stopped gas was putting L3 and Sortie on the team
Oh, Afra L3 and Sortie, or in 5s.
in fives. Sorry,
Oh,
fives.
okay.
Yeah, last
Yeah,
time
yeah.
the Datacron was around, it
Yeah, that
was
sounds like a good idea.
L3 and Sortie, and it pretty much like gave gas a really hard time, and that's I think the only defensive viability that I'd be comfortable with setting with this Datacron. But
Someone was setting L3 and B2 as
B2.
well. That was the one that was like stopping almost everything but Galactic Legends or something like that.
it's all,
I remember there was in 3s there was a Afra L3 and BT1,
yeah.
but I'm not quite sure. I guess in 3s it's harder just to get through to Afra in that case, but she doesn't get the turn meter. I guess it would stop First Order.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
the L3 and Sortie are becoming pretty flexible. It's also I lost in 3v3. I don't know if it was last season or not. Someone put Sortie with Lord Vader and it like messed up. I forget even what I used, but it messed me up. And I also used L3 with Phoenix against Riva just so I wasn't playing Russian roulette. Because like if they put torture on Rex, you're dead. Like anyone else, you're fine. But I took out Kaden,
Yeah.
put in L3, and it was just pretty easy.
That's a clever idea. So actually, that's perfect,
I-
Sanjita. How did your season go? Any other strange things you found?
It went amazing. I was very happy with it. 7-2. I think that's the
Oh,
best
wow.
season I've had all year. I don't know when the last time or if I've had a season like that. I also had some real nail biters like Calvin. One of my 2 losses was a tie, and I'm pretty much
Yeah.
always the lower GP, so I lost there. I forget. There's probably, I mean, anything would have changed it. I won one by 1 banner, and I was super excited. Again, anything could have changed it. And then the other loss, my opponent was just really efficient, and I had like 2 timeouts. I timed out on Ray with Malakos. I used Malakos to kill Ray. It wasn't a Ray that had Malakos on the team. But they had Jedi Cal and plus 72% health. And I probably should have gone for Cal, but the Ray had like 350,000 health when I just look at the stats, and I don't know what it was after abilities. But it was insane. I just timed out. Ray was dead, and JTR just like had a few more seconds left and didn't die. But overall, it was a great season, especially since I didn't have Leia till the last week, and when I did have her, she was R6. Just with old Ben, I put her with old Ben and Mon Mothma because I was not gonna give up Han and Chewie.
Yeah.
And also I did not lose to Leia once the whole season, so I was really.
What
happy
did you
with
use to counter her most of the time? The
Um,
JML.
JM,
setup?
yeah, always the same comp: JML, Revan, Luke, Cal, and Mace.
Okay.
And like when I would test in Squad Arena, there were ways I could go about it and really mess up, but I think I got a good turn order down, and it never felt bad. Like the last lay I beat had 409% defense, and it still
Oof.
went fine. I got 65 banners.
That's nice.
So,
Yeah,
went
it
pretty
really
well.
feels like, I don't know. I think with Jabba in this new set 12, that's going to be the go-to counter, because I'm not.
Yeah.
I really don't think that JML, even with a bunch of protection from set 11, can break through Leia with any regular basis.
Yeah, I've been testing with an 80% protection, and I do win. But the thing I miss the most is the speed up. Honestly, I mean the damage
Yeah.
reduction helps too, but the protection kind of mitigates a little bit. And Cal's nice too. But basically to win, this last season I just went for Leia, just straight Leia, no one else. Just don't get distracted except for like an insta kill. But to win with set 11, you need to go for the sides when you have an opening, like when they have low turn meter. So if I can like catch them, like especially Chewbacca or Han with low turn meter, then it can be pretty reliable. But again, it's really like dependent on their speeds. So I hope Jabba is really consistent too.
Yeah, it seems like it so far from what I've seen. You basically just go at Leia, eat the sides, and then she'll eventually die, more or less.
Yeah, I've lost it twice today in squad arena, so I'll just need to figure it out better.
With one of the set 12 DCs, or
Yeah, the right one, the Boosh
Okay.
and
Boosh and this
the
level 6.
long wordy level 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Have you guys faced that very much on defense at all, or seen it on defense?
The Java? No,
Yeah,
no.
and that's what I'm
I-
curious about.
I don't think we're gonna.
Yeah, I was
see that
worried
one,
about it.
just because Afra.
Yeah, I
is gonna
think
run
people will
over.
keep it for Leia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like Afra's gonna run it over like easily, and it's such an easy
Yes.
out for Leia. So I'm like, I just don't think. I can't think of a
And
scenario. that-
Slacker still beats it too.
yeah. So I'm like,
Okay.
I think Jabba's
nice.
gonna disappear from the board for a little bit, for most people.
I was worried I'd see it in my last match because they did have the Datacron. I don't know if they got an afterlock or not, but they didn't set it on defense. I kept Lord Vader for it because the thermals aren't going to be as much of an issue, but
Yeah.
they didn't set, so.
Yeah, I think
Interesting.
I think if you don't have Leia, someone might set it on you. But if you do, I think that's just an easy out. For
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how people play that back and forth. If everybody keeps Jabba for Leia and it's an easy win, why would you put Leia on defense in the first place if it's going to take Jabba, which is like he's a very good GL, but if he doesn't kill Leia, I guess he kills Rey, and then I mean, what other GL? Because JMK with
Yeah, I
Captain
was
No
thinking of
Revive
that.
is an interesting
It's
little.
like there's like a circle because it's like, okay, Afra's amazing, but it's like if you set her, CLS can kill it. So you take Afra on offense. So you don't want Jabba on defense because Afra will just kill Jabba. So then you don't put Jabba on defense. And then you don't want Jabba will just kill Leia, so you're afraid of putting Leia on defense. So it's like you just like, what do you actually put?
The one
Are
thing I want to test
we-
with Leia is, and I haven't seen anyone do this yet, is like obviously Drogon and R2 they're just married at the hip, but I've thought about doing Jin and Adrad to kind of offset Leia possibly.
Yeah. Oh, we faced that in TW. That was crazy.
Yeah.
In TW with the Omicron. It was insane. I mean, I beat it, but I was so scared.
It's weird.
What
That
did you
is a
use?
good idea. I used JML still. Same
Oh,
thing.
okay.
It was hard. It was hard because I was really worried about Jin bringing back Leia.
Yeah, I mean, the revive in there. I saw in the GG stats there was some versions of Leia that had Captain Han Solo in there,
Oof.
which I thought was
Mm.
That's another good one.
interesting. But then it's a question of which tank do you put in there, like Old Ben, or do you put in Mon Mothma and let them kill Captain Han Solo quicker, or build like a real. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I think all of those will still get eaten by Jabba. So, yeah, interesting little dynamic there.
Are
How
we
about you?
100% sure Super Afra kills Jabba? Like, I've heard a lot of people say that, and I haven't seen it once.
I've
if
seen
people
it.
test that?
With her Datacron. Yeah, she steamrolls it. She goes over pretty easily. I mean, just to give you an idea, Calvin. Like when she came out, I had her whole team at R5, and I was going up against R8 Jabbas, no problem.
But like,
what about the
Jabba with the Boushkron?
the damage
With,
immunity?
yeah, with the Boushkron, yeah. Yeah, the
Okay.
damage.
I've
The
seen it
damage immunity is the
twice
weird
in
one,
Arena.
but like you pretty much like the one thing that makes Afra so strong is the fact that she takes so many turns and she cycles her cooldowns, so she's constantly increasing cooldowns to where they're just using their basics on you.
Oh yeah,
They don't get
that's
to do
true.
anything. So it's and she ramps
Yeah.
a lot. So her little summoned droid that she does just does a crap ton of
Yeah.
damage. So
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get that reset for the basic on the level 6, you can get cycle through even faster.
yep. And because her droids are also scoundrels too, so you can cycle through them like super fast. And the Datacron does all the heavy lifting. Like you don't need the Omis. It's just the Datacron does everything.
How was your last season, Tass? What did you learn? What do you see?
Oh man, I had a great season. I finished 8th in the world, 7-2. One
Congrats.
of those losses was like first
awesome.
round. Thank you. One of those rounds, first round of the season was a loss to KP67, one of my guildmates, who huge, enormous account. Met up with him later in the season and avenged myself.
Very satisfying.
And then in the finals week, my only other loss was to Aesop Rock, who's sitting at number 1 with there's the best way to describe his account is I think maybe only one other account in the game has as many options for how he wants to play his GAC. All of the crons, all of the everything. So a very fine opponent to lose to. I've only beaten him once. And I want to say that's like 1-3 now is my record versus Aesop. But it was an incredible season. We learned a lot. We absolutely sweat our ass off and had a great time doing it. Great time.
Did you have many of the set 12 DCs for the last week to play around with, or?
I had the Bausch.
Nice.
To date, I cannot get that level 6 for the reset to roll for me on, I want to say, 8 and counting of these new
Oof.
set of Datacrons. So it's good. It's great. And you're wondering, oh, Tass, you shouldn't expect to get it when you're just rolling the cron. You'll have to re-roll that a few times. What if I told you each one of those was getting that level 6 re-rolled twice? So now it's up to the 40 material cost to re-roll it further. So that's why I'm just rolling another cron. I'm still 8 crons out from that. So 24 rolls
Holy
to try
moly.
and see one of them, and I can't get one.
Just one level 6 scoundrel reset.
That's the only thing I'm fishing for. Man, if you want to see ability block, you want to have the opportunity to turn scoundrels into Jawas, I am your
So-
guy. Come see me.
You have to channel that energy into the game. You have to tell the game you want ability block. You want the other ones, and then it will
What?
get you what you need.
Sacrifice a little chicken. And
Yeah.
should be set.
I don't want to antagonize you, but what if I told you my first level 6 on a light side was that reset?
I mean, I believe
That would
in
fit the
existence.
description of antagonizing.
And you
yes.
re-rolled it, right?
It's well,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's just the circle.
He had
It's the
another one
circle of
already.
life, right? If I'm having the terrible, like somebody had to have pulled it on the first go. Now that being said, I'm not too bitter because my Vaushkron came together in relatively few rerolls. So
There you go.
You win some, you lose some.
yeah.
Till 24. That's
It-
an impressive number right there.
Yes, present number of attempts to even see this thing once.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, it's been a great season. I had a great time. So here we are in the off week. Gosh, it's nice to be bored. I mean, I know
This is not a
Conquest
bored week for me.
It's tedious. It's tedious, is what it is. It is not mentally engaging. It's just tedious with Conquest.
Well, talking about mentally engaging, Van Seal, you were talking earlier, how did your season go? And how much of the raid did you do? I know you put out a few videos and were testing it like crazy.
So those kind of go hand in hand. So I honestly don't even remember when I finished my season. It was a bad season. I think it went either 3 and 6 or 4 and 5. I don't remember, but like it was the highest I've ever climbed though in GAC. I think I was knocking on the door of like 220. So I was like about to peak the top 200. Then the raid came out the second week, right? And like all my focus was on that. I was forgetting which days GAC was. I was like forgetting to change my defense. I was just like in raid mode. And then I got sick for like 2 weeks or a week and a half. So I just didn't give a crap about GAC. I was just like, oh, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. But the raid, I think I streamed like 6.5 hours when it came out for one team. And I got addicted. Like it got to the point where after I turned the raid off, I was starting to get dizzy because nothing was flying
didn't
at a
see
miles
it.
an hour. Yeah, like the screens were all still, and I'm like, okay, I need that raid back up. But
So,
It's like getting off.
so you
the
really
roller coaster
just enjoy
feeling.
it.
I enjoy how simple it is, and the thing was, I'm like, the reason I enjoy it is because once people get their teams dialed in, and once like everyone figures out the best of the best, and everyone gets to their R8s, this raid is gonna print R8s and R9s every week. And there's minimal RNG with this raid too, which is what I like. Like it's like there's certain guides
I
where you can
like
just
how
push buttons.
easy it is. Yeah.
As long as you push the right buttons in the right order, you got your speed within the same ballpark as the guide. Like nothing should go different. Like this raid is, I mean, this raid is, I'm not gonna lie, it's tedious as hell to learn and understand, but I think once people figure it out, and people are figuring it out very quickly right now. Like I did my first solo Leia today, got it my first try, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like that's nice, and my mods weren't even close to the guide, but that's just the power of Leia. But yeah, no, I really enjoy this raid, and I've been telling people like just auto it for now. Once people come out with guides, once people figure it out, then you can, decide whether or not you want to invest. But like for the most part, just auto it, and let people figure it out. I mean, it just came out, still brand new.
But I think from what I've seen at least, and I only tested it. I tested a little bit in the first week, quite a bit more the second week, more on like auto teams to see what I could get just playing auto.
Mhm.
But now it seems like you essentially, with C-3PO still being usable over and over and over again, you effectively have Leia
Yeah,
and then the evasion stacking teams, which play exactly the same every single one
every
of them.
time. Yep.
And you just do that 7 times with Leia, and then
Yeah,
you got,
I
20
do.
million
I do
or
think they're
something.
going to probably fix that 3PO thing. I haven't tried it
Yeah.
yet because I'm not planning for 3PO to be used on every single raid team. I just think that's just, and if they don't fix it, then cool. But I do think that's something that's going to get changed because it's a little bit too.
It takes away a third of the characters they wanted. to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you only need like 17. Is that right? 17 characters max if
Something
you're just
like
running
that.
him
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
Is
But,
he? So I'm not very good at the raid. Is he legitimately like ideal in every single comp though,
so
or is he just like
yes,
usable,
no. So
or
so
is he
right.
like
Pretty
complex?
ideal.
So the way things have changed. So like I put out a guide talking about Iden, Scout, and Stark, and full points to 2.7 mil. But I think now the way everyone's shifting is you want to have like one Empire, one or two Empire, and like one Rebel, because the Rebels don't lose their stacks of evasion. So your Empire, like you're essentially recreating the Scout Trooper Omicron by having that one Rebel on the team. And 3PO has like the golden abilities to like ramp. So that's what makes him so good, that you
Oh.
can just he pretty much fills that slot of the Scout Omi, because the Scout Omi doesn't allow Scout to like consume her stacks of evasion, so she constantly just ramps infinitely. And 3PO is kind of like your pseudo version of that, and other rebels and Ewoks as well.
Yeah, one thing I don't want to get up is Ewoks, and then
They're
I
good.
know here's the R8s I will get. I will get Iden. I will get Chewbacca because I don't have all of them already. I'll consider Rex.
Hera, of course.
I don't know who
The
else.
R8 that everybody
Huh?
wants. Hera, from Phoenix. Really need that one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's good. Lando's seems pretty
Mhm.
good too, even though he's doo-doo
So,
everywhere else.
I
He's good
don't
in the
like.
raid.
I like full autoed. I didn't pay attention to any strats or anything. The only thing that I did do was I did the 3PO escape for like 3 of my battles or so, and like without much investment in the raid, other than things that I already had for reasons, I got like almost 9 million, and
Yeah.
my guild has already told us like, all right, we want everyone to get 10. So I have to like the amount of upgrades that I have to make to to get to a really good spot is so little. Like I'm gonna R8 Leia, I'll probably R8 or R7 Chewbacca and Iden, and if I assume if I just tweak my strategies a little bit, I'll hit 10 million easy.
And
Yeah.
that's why I
Yeah.
like this
It's
raid so much, is I think people are able to achieve higher scores that have more of an impact with their current roster with this raid than they were able to do with the crate raid. And on top of that, if you look at the teams
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
required for the crate raid, like no shame towards Jawas, because I got a friend that's got R9 Jawas, and he is doing fun stuff with the Tatacrons right now. But it's like we don't have to gear up Jawas, we don't have to gear up Tuskens, we don't have to gear up Old Republic. These are factions that are required for the crate raid, and then over here it's like, oh, I have to R9 or not R9. I have to R8 my Han and Chewie, or my Jedi Knight Luke, or my Imperial Troopers. It's like these aren't like bad teams to invest in anyways. I mean, Ewoks is probably the one people don't want to do, but Ewoks are also kind of good now with Nisa.
Well, they're also like
For
half of them
now.
are required for Leia, so it's
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're layer
yeah,
requirements.
for-
So
from a roster building perspective, this raid is significantly better than
Yeah.
great.
and
Like,
you I
these
think
aren't
you can,
Yeah,
just
it's
good
just really
teams,
cheap.
but core teams.
yeah. So for me, I feel like CG. I don't want to say CG messed up, but I really think that this raid is a gift, and as long as you like figure out your teams, get like the 10 mil, like Calvin, like you're saying, because all you have to do is like, and you're just autoing getting 9 mil, right? So like if you actually, took the time to learn how the raid operates and remod a couple times, like you can easily increase your score to like 10, 11, possibly even 12 mil, like within one try. It's crazy. So it's like it's good
Yeah.
for guilds everywhere, because like I said, this raid is going to start printing R8s and R9s like every week.
Like my thing, I don't like to remod for different events. Like I really just want
Yeah,
a singular
nah.
mod set. Yeah, I remodded Leia to have 10k off, and she has like 10,000 and like 15 or something. Is that a viable PvP modding for her? I still haven't really tried it out.
Can't be bad.
So like for me,
Because I mean, she hits hard even when I didn't have extra offense.
the raid mods are like all my raid sets are not viable, I think, in GAC or TW, like at all.
Yeah, for this raid, I agree.
But from the 8 teams that I have, I actually only have 5 different sets. Because that's the nice thing that's about this raid too, is like once you get to like Relic 7, Relic 8, you are capped. And like
Yeah.
that's the cool thing, is like once you hit your stat cap, you're good. You don't need to touch that character ever again. That character is essentially a carbon copy of your previous team. Because everyone's going to do the same amount of damage. Everyone's going to generate the same amount of stacks of evasion. And once you find a mod set that like I don't remember all the
It's for
characters, but it's
everybody.
like
You just
Pia,
use the same mod set
Pia
over
and
and over.
Pia and Aiden are the same. They have the same abilities. So it's like that category of a character. I just need a mod set for that category, not for the character specifically, and then I just move it over. So like right now, I only have 5 mod sets for the whole raid, and I'm like, that's not
That
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 bad.
contributes to me thinking this is kind of a dumb raid, though. Like
It
it's
is.
just
That's
such
why
a
I like it.
ridiculous raid.
It's great. Like
I was
once
gonna
you
say
figure it out.
they're it's different angles. Like it's
Yeah.
from a quality of life perspective, it's very good, but from an actual
Mm.
playthrough, it's
Yep.
I don't particularly enjoy it.
Easy and cheap. And like I did some runs where got better scores using 2 characters when I like took out the third person. Like I forget what it was, but it's like that is such strange game design. The fact that Leia I mean, I love that she solos. But like if you just use and I was thinking of this would be the dream scenario. You do a solo with Leia and then you use a 2-man using C3PO every other run, and then you would only need like 9 characters. So I don't
Yeah.
think you could do that,
And
but that would be
I mean,
crazy.
it depends. I think if you're trying to push max box with a guild, I don't think that 3PO option is viable. Unfortunately, I think everyone needs to get as close to 2.7
Not a
as
concern
possible.
for me.
But yeah, no, it's kind of funny how like how much effort they put into this raid and redesigning it, and it's literally just like when you have your 8 teams, all 8 teams except for the Solo Leia are the same. You're just moving the mod set over. You just have to get the relic, the relic 8, as like their admission ticket, and that's it.
Yeah. But it is definitely nice the less amount of time. Once you get over
Oh,
the
yeah.
initial learning curve and you set up your mods that you're going to end up needing. And I'm expecting maybe one of you guys will make some sort of guide once they sort out the C3PO thing, saying here's your 8 teams, here's the evasion stacking thing you can do for 7 of them, and there you go. That's your raid guide. But how does it fit like time wise? Has this easy raid, has it been out long enough to be easy, I guess? Has it made any of your other priorities in the game different? Like, do you spend more time doing something else now that you don't have crate twice a week? Or like, what's your day to day?
For me,
I'm just happier.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can agree with that. I'm a lot happier with this raid just because, like, for me, because I feel like out of everyone here, I probably spent the most amount of time in it. I hope, and if anyone does more time than me, I'm sorry, because man. But I feel like I could explain the raid like the back of my hand because I've just spent so much time in it. So I understand all the mechanics, and to me, it's like it's just ones and zeros. Like I got it down to a science.
Matrix there with the numbers
Yeah,
going by your
yeah,
head.
exactly.
I have something I'd like you to explain to me then. I had one team run, I think it was like C3PO, Chewbacca, maybe Drogon.
Mhm.
None of the bullets hit any. They just shot past
Oh,
the
yeah.
imps every time, and then eventually they would just fall apart. But like they were just whiffing. It was just shoot between, shoot to the left, shoot to the right, the whole
Wait,
time.
oh,
And it
you
would
mean-
like
you mean-
pause
you
a
mean-
lot.
You
They'd
mean
just
the
like,
Empire was shooting your characters, or your characters was missing?
my characters were missing them, but they would eventually still die. Like
I
they
think it was
never.
a visual glitch. 'Cause I
And
had
it's
that
just
too.
the animations did not make contact
The
with the other
animations.
bikes.
Oh yeah, no, that's terrible. There's been
The animations.
There's one when I was streaming. There was one time where I shot. I killed like the last scout trooper, and my team was just like flying for like 10 seconds, and I'm like, "Where's the next wave?" I'm like,
Yeah,
So yeah, the animations are the animations are all buggy, 100%.
Yeah.
buggy.
But I think so. Going back to what I was saying is like I think this rate is once you learn it and understand it, it is so much faster than Crate. It is so much faster. Like I said, there's for certain teams like the Leia team,
Yeah.
there's 0 RNG. You just have to push the right buttons in
Yeah.
the right order. You're done. That's it.
I think that's probably my favorite part. Like putting aside the time aspect of it, there is really almost no RNG. And I was thinking they would build in some more with the evasion and having that play a bigger role, but
yeah,
it doesn't really seem to be. And you can do the exact same thing every single run.
yeah, it's beautiful.
Like I have my little spreadsheet: step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Set the mods, and there you go.
My only complaint with the raid, and it's like my biggest complaint is teaching people the raid because it is so overly complicated with the way jam works, the way your evasion's going to work, the way the enrage timer works. It's just there's so many
Yeah.
moving parts for such a simple like team. It's just like to me, I don't know how they came up with that. I guess only CG can come up with something so complicated for us to be like, oh, you just got to push these two buttons. It's like, oh. But yeah, like I want to come out with another guide just explaining like the entire raid, not just like one team, but just like how everything functions, because like we kind of said earlier, every team kind of operates the same as the previous team, as long as it's the same relic requirements, same mods. It's like it's the same. So like
Yeah.
you can use one guide for all your teams.
Going again to the like playtime aspect of it being so easy to do the raid now. I personally am taking that extra time and spending a little bit more time with sorry, Sanjita, with mod farming, like having these double drops.
And nothing
I've
wrong with
been,
that.
yeah, I've really been not enjoying, but my roster is relatively broad, I guess, in terms of 6Es, but I have again, relatively lower amount of like high speed mods. So I've been farming speed mods and tenacity mods with all of my spare time. That's one thing I do hope they would change, or I was hoping they would change with this raid, is adding some additional mod loadout slots instead of I don't know how much we're stuck at now, 200 or something like
We have
that.
200, yeah, for 250, 60 characters.
Yeah. That's again sort of a nice thing about the new raid, is that I don't have to change that many. I don't actually have a mod set yet, but I'm expecting I'll have like 6 or 7 or something for the raid, which is really not that bad compared to Crate, where it was a lot more complicated to move mods around to
Crate,
get the
you needed
score.
specific mods. This is like, you just have to hit that 10,000 offense with 6 different
Yeah.
mods. It doesn't matter how you do it, you just have to hit that threshold. So everyone's going to have different mods for their teams, but you have a lot more flexibility for hitting your thresholds.
Yeah. What are
So
you doing, Toss, with your extra time? Do you have any projects you're working on, or spend more time with your family, or?
Mostly I just panic and think, oh shit, is there a raid I should be doing right now that is like due in an hour? So yeah. Mostly just panic. I'm still not used to it. Also, it is easy. Everything you guys are saying about it, being a loot pinata is accurate. It visually disgusts me. Like, and I am really like, I have deep admiration for you, Vencil, for spending the amount of FaceTime, coming to enjoy it. Like, I want that for people. I don't want people to not enjoy it, but I don't even suffer from motion sickness. And looking at that raid is horrible for me.
Don't get me wrong.
It is like,
I think it looks like shit. Visually, it looks
It
awful.
really
I don't get sick
is.
from it. I don't get sick from it. I just think it looks
really
like
is.
ass.
But it's groundbreaking technology.
And the sad
I'll
part,
tell you what, whoever was responsible for the sign off, like on the
Someone say
release for
that?
that, decided that was release quality,
Yeah.
like the stutter stepping. It's like, man, don't put this on your LinkedIn, bro. Don't put this on your LinkedIn.
So the
This
sad
doesn't go
part
on the CV.
is in 9 months they're going to get rid of all the shrubbery, the trees, and the speeder bikes, and they're going to replace them with TIE fighters, X-wings,
Space,
and
yeah,
the trench run.
for sure.
And they're going to
Yeah.
be like, here's your Death Star raid you guys have been begging for like 4 or 5 years. Hope you enjoy.
Oh
Yeah.
God. That's sad, but I think that's actually true. I think it's going to be the next.
What
I got a
are-
lot of comments about that, and I was like, I don't really know what to do with that, man. Like, maybe, probably, I will see.
That's going to another like Empire Rebel centric raid though. I feel like their goal is to just have a treadmill of which factions you need. Like, Crate was all the obvious like crap factions or like neglected factions, Tatooine
Yeah.
factions. And this is, it's not too many that are terrible. It's just like Ewoks that people don't want to relic up. But I feel like they're gonna they're just gonna go to their spreadsheet and pick what the least used factions are.
Xylo Beast to make sure that everyone gets up Kit Fisto and Plo Koon and Luminara.
Yeah.
Like that,
There
that's
you
to
go.
me, that would be the next big one. Because I think the highest concentration of just garbage right now, unfortunately, is Galactic
Yeah,
Republic, which
there's
is sad considering how many
Giorgetta.
huge ones they have.
Yeah, and since they set the precedent of like we're gonna just pick which characters you can use out of these good factions, they can just be like, yeah, you can use Kit Fisto and Heathcote. Yeah, sure. Maybe they could be like a temple
Inigo
run
was technically only
during
there in episode
Order
3, though, so you
66.
can't use him. Oh yeah, Nightfall, Operation
Yeah.
Nightfall.
I agree with what you guys are saying. I just think that like with their new raid model, they've kind of pigeonholed themselves where it's like, okay, so they're marketing the new raids as like glorified galactic challenges where it's like you have to get the new faction, you have to get the new galactic legend. I'm like, I just personally don't see them adding one, any more GLs to the game, two, another one within 8 months from now with a whole new faction, because I'm like, that's just a whole that's just a
It's
lot
kind of a hot take
that's a lot of
So
stuff.
you think no more GLs?
No, I
because
think
they've done that like for like the last 3 years.
I think
Like,
they're
almost
gonna.
on, like,
I think
a
they're gonna.
watch.
I think they're gonna move past GLs, and I think they're gonna do something else. I mean, there's gonna be like I think
I was actually thinking that too.
another like GL level character, but I think they're just gonna move on to another like unlock type, if that makes sense.
I would think it'd be
I
like
was
the
thinking about
Relic
that
10 sort of where
possibility.
you get the.
Yeah.
Go
Or
ahead.
Relic 10. I mean, that was data mined like 2
Like-
years ago. I don't know where it's at.
The only thing that makes me think they're capping it at 8 is like, one, it's hard to find good characters for GLs, but two, that like GL event, like the artwork shows all of them. So I don't know, it feels like kind of a capping event to GLs. I mean, they can easily change that picture and add other levels, but it was just kind of interesting to me that like now they're doing that. That seems to hint at something further. So I think you're onto something possibly there.
Are you doing anything with your roster now that you think the GLs are done? Like, are you investing in just raid characters, other characters?
So
like-
right now, everything's raid characters. I think I have like 8 more raid characters to Relic 8, and then I'm done. And then after that, like, I feel like after I do that, I'm gonna have the freedom to do R8s and R9s every raid.
for fun.
Yeah, for fun or whatever the guild needs for TW, or heaven forbid, maybe we start R90 for TB platoons. I don't know.
It's going to be the era of TV Omnis pretty soon when people are getting to those R8 and R9.
I'm only missing a
Punch
couple
your
of those.
tongue.
No one cares
What's
about
that, Jack?
those R9 planets.
Bite your tongue. I won't be doing that.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? The Omega Omi, I used it for the first time against on Zepho. It's actually pretty good on Zepho. So, in case you guys are struggling.
Well,
Who
you know
gave
what?
her
Actually,
that?
I actually put. God, this is terrible. I have a lot of Omicrons, and I put on 3 Omicrons on Jedi Cal.
Ah,
So
jealous.
Oh,
I can auto. Don't maybe I
Second
should
Sanjita.
tell the guild. I can auto the mission to unlock
Those
Zepho
bonus
without
Nice.
remoddings. So
That was
it
so
saves
easy.
me 10 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, okay, maybe not 10 minutes, 3 minutes, but I can not remod, which is
After I do Gideon's Omis, I'm probably gonna do all of Cal's.
it
you
makes
guys
them
are
really, really
killing
tough.
me.
Yeah, I can like. What was the last one I put on? Oh, dude, no, I haven't even put Drogons on yet.
Yeah, that's my next one too.
I've seen a lot of people on the fence for that
Those
one.
are
Like I feel like
scarce,
it's,
man.
it's like the equivalent of Chrysanthemum's Omi, but like I see a lot of people are just like they don't want to do it or they're choosing not to do it. It's kind of interesting.
Well, I think it's better than Chrysanthemum's.
I do
Omi.
too. I do too. I regret
I
getting
do
what
too.
Chrysanthemum
Yeah,
is.
it's still in the
Yeah,
good
I
to
actually-
have, like
It's not a must.
Yeah,
right,
it's gonna
right.
be-
It's not that good,
'Cause
but
I
it
think-
is good.
I think when people
Yeah.
were like before we knew about like the set 12, I think like people were anticipating Leia being on defense for much longer than I think we
Yeah.
thought. And now
Yeah,
it's
yeah, I
like,
agree.
well, Jabba's kind of autoing her. So, do you need that Omi for offense?
Well, it does make the Leia mirrors a little bit easier. Like
That's
gives your
true. That's true.
Drogon a little bit more survivability. That's actually what I did in my last week of GAC. Oh, I didn't say how my GAC was this last season. My season was pretty good. Well, the first week was 0-3. First time that's ever happened to me.
Ooh, getting skunked. That does happen.
Yeah, but I lost the first match to he outplayed me. It's one of the first actual he beat me. I didn't just fuck up matches I've had in a while. So great props to him. But then the other two, I was just like, F it, let's just go test a bunch of weird stuff and try things out. And neither of my opponents were of that same mindset. So I lost. But it made the next 6 matches. I won all 6 of the next ones. And in the last week, I tried a whole bunch of stuff on offense, just basically focused on one-shotting the board every time. And man, those Leia mirrors are easy. You can take almost anything in there and target Leia and hit auto almost. They're so simple against any of the Leia comps. So
I've been trying that a little bit in Arena. I don't have ult yet, and I have no idea what I'm doing, but it seems to be very easy to win. Their AI
agree.
does not target Leia properly, so
Oh,
they
it's
just like
so bad.
skunk their mastery instantly, and then it's kind of hard to lose from there, assuming you have everything else met.
You can
Yeah.
lose like 2 or 3 characters, and you're still gonna like ult and bring them back because you've chipped something down enough. Like I just put it on auto for Squad Arena, and I just watch it do that all the time. I'll lose like 2 or 3 characters. Like that's fine, ult. Then we wrap it up for what would be a 65.
definitely makes it easy. It's sort of a shame though, because the thing is, I guess Leia sort of feels a little bit like, or I'm thinking in this upcoming season, feels a little bit like what Riva was when she came out. Like she can literally beat anything very, very easily, but she is just, I don't want to say worthless on defense, but with set 12, I think even in the last part of this season, I know that JML, if you look at the global stats, only had like 40% success or something. But anybody who knew how to play the comp and had like roughly appropriate relic levels, it was way higher than that. It was like 80%, I would say, maybe 85.
No, yeah, I looked
Well-
at that too because I was at I tried it JMO versus Leia 3 times in a row, lost every single one like really bad, and I was like, am I doing something wrong? And then I went into the filter and I put R8 minimum, jumped up to like 85%. I'm like, oh, that might help a little bit. My
Yeah.
R5s are just getting busted.
What level 6 were you running on your Jedi Crown for all that time? Ken?
That was also the problem. I had foresight, not damage reduction.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, so that's interesting because I'll say this much. I remember like the previous 5 season or whatever when we first saw Leia. I had spotty performance with damage reduction. What was just cracked out. I mean, we can't do it now because set 10's dusted, but it was the 10% turn meter gain on buff gain. That is
Okay.
what made it a snap for me, man. I lost exactly one of that the entire season, and it's because I had Hoda instead of Jolie. So I made that mistake exactly once the entire season because they opened up on Hoda. They dispel stuff,
No
blew
supports
him
and
up, and then
healers.
that was bad. But like my Relic 9 Jolie now, like they opened up on him. They all focused him. It's like he just still had protection up. He was just big chilling in the corner.
Nice.
So that was
Yeah.
great.
I suppose you're
I'm-
not in the no supports or healers allowed versus Leia with JML camp.
Say what? Say again?
Have you heard of that? So, like, if Leia uses her basic on a support or healer, she equalizes health with the weakest ally. So, if you're like going all in on Leia all match and she's down to like nothing. If she
Yeah.
basics like Yoda or Jolie, she's gonna heal all the way back up and erase your progress. Once I realized that, I was looking for tanks or attackers, then I put Mace in. But I mean, yeah, if she doesn't basic them, then you're fine. But it's scary.
Yeah, also it ends up being like I know what you're talking about. It's not that I can stop her from taking turns entirely, but you take so many turns because you're getting
Yeah,
the
that buff
15%
sounds
turn meter
good.
feed from coin. Then they're also gaining a stack of the Jedi Mastery or whatnot, and that's 10% turn
Yeah.
meter. So every time you're pinging around coins,
Yeah.
you are feeding
And you
25%
combine
turn
that with
meter to
the
that character.
speed up on basic. It's just like off of the races.
It's overwhelming.
fast.
Yeah. So it's not that you could see some of my streams from this last month. It's not that she doesn't get the turn to do that equalization. Maybe she most of the time doesn't. I would say they felt mostly pretty favorable. But even where that did happen, you just keep on motoring through and you kill her. The real trick to that, to not screwing that fight up for me, was making sure that I kept mark on her the whole time. So that's like,
Yeah.
you mark
Yes.
with JKR off rip, then you're going to use your Jedi Cow turn bonus turn pass back on over,
Back
right?
to Revan.
Swap
Yeah.
swap to the next
point
highest
Revan.
turn meter. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to make sure that, because
Yeah.
the one time I remember really just wiping out, it was because after they wiped out my Hoda, that took one piece of that whole turn meter train out of circuit. And it ended up such that I couldn't keep him always being able to have Mark. R2 got a turn, determined that he was the highest percent health guy on board, put everyone else under stealth, and I just could sit there.
Yeah, that's rough. That's what I used. I'm in like the no support healer camp as well, but I used Plo for the extra turn meter. And usually by the time Plo took his turn and gave everybody turn meter, Leia was dead. Generally like 3 turns after that.
Jolie's also your safety valve. Like I would say that
Very
whatever
true.
risk there was, again, this was all predicated on using set 10, so a very different world going forward. But as long as that was around, the Jolie had definitely saved me. The couple of times they managed to focus and burst down somebody that I couldn't afford to be without.
Did you guys ever face any Leia that was stacked with tenacity mods?
No.
No.
I never looked at the mods. Never
I
showed me
saw-
the mods.
I saw one video of somebody, I think he was like 200-300 in Kyber or something like that. So still good opponents. And he was using the JML like standard comp. He had all the relic levels, the DC, everything like that. And the Leia only had tenacity mods like tenacity sets, health primaries, tenacity cross. And he did not win. It was like a stomp almost, just because she took
that
so
does
long
make sense.
to go down. And I thought that
Well,
would be a
I
very
think-
interesting.
Yeah, that actually would cause a lot of problems for my approach too, because I rely on getting ability blocks. Like either like JML usually gets it off the bat, but then if he doesn't, I'd like make sure I keep calling Mace until she gets ability block. Because if she's doing her abilities, yeah, that's a problem. So I think that is probably a great way to do it. But I suck with tenacity mods, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I was farming tenacity mods during this last during double drops, because it seems like there's so many interesting teams that can benefit, especially even if you look back at like the 3 or 4 Datacron sets we've had, they haven't given tenacity as a stat, but a lot of them have effects that are, I mean, besides the unresistible ones, a lot of them have effects that you can slow down quite a bit with tenacity mods. To me, it really feels like that's like the new. It's not new. It's been around for ages, but a lot of teams get screwed up with tenacity mods.
It's
you're
like
facing
them.
it's like your most prominent constraint that's not getting remedied by other things. You just load up
Yeah.
tenacity and everything else is kind of fine because you're getting health protection, offense from relics.
Mm-hmm.
So
I wonder if
Those
Leia's
popular.
makes sense.
going to be a GL where it's like she is. I mean, everything's Datacron dependent, right? But like, I'm wondering if like her placement on either offense or defense is just going to be determined by the Datacron meta. Because I feel like if you can get a Datacron that just makes her durable, back on defense. If not,
Yeah.
you just put her on
And-
offense.
I think people now that put her on defense, now that set 10 is gone and Phoenix is good, but not, I mean, amazing. People will now put more Kanan and Obi-Wan in there because that is really stat wise. I think that's better than Baze, Mon Mothma. I mean, assuming their relics are decent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they're old Ben is not that hard to take down, but his ability block is annoying, and Kanan is super tanky if you get him up there a little bit.
Very. Yeah.
I'll say, did you guys encounter anybody using the Inquisitor's Malakos to take
Darth
on
Vader?
Leia? To take on Leia?
I use
I saw a couple
Inquisitor's
videos.
SLKR every time.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah, I saw you
that's
do
the only
that,
way I
yeah.
one shot.
Mhm. I'm
Yeah.
asking about it because I know some people are pulling that off, but there's a couple prerequisites to it. And I will say this: Old Ben and Baze specifically really impede that. They really impede that. That specific like Inquisitor's Malakos counter. That was terrible. I did it once and it was like, okay, I don't even think he was deliberately trying to set it up that way. What I think it was is if you don't have your GI speed plus 30 greater than their Drogon speed plus 40, you have a bad time. That's what I have learned.
That's not
But
complicated.
I thought I wanted to ask. because that was one of those weirder. We were talking so much about how people were countering Leia. So, but you were not the only one, Cal. I saw a few people make effective use of that that combo, and Slacker felt a little out of place this season because a lot of people were putting him on defense because it's like, I don't really need him for attack, and then it's like, okay, fine, so that's your Inquisitor bait this time.
Jabba has a new solution. Lord Vader had a new solution. But yeah, he got shoved into that Inquisitor comp, and I was so happy. And like, I would get comments on streams who hadn't seen previous people who hadn't seen previous streams saying like, "Oh, that's super expensive." I'm like, you don't realize what we were doing before this.
Yeah, the 3s and 4 shots to get through.
I used 3 Jedi teams in one, killed 1 character, and then sacrificed 4 other good teams. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Speaking of like expensive for counters, like even I'm like drowning in teams now. Like a lot of teams I used to use all the time. I'll tally up the teams I have left over when I'm done attacking. I'm like, okay, I got like Aratus, Iden, I got Qui-Gon Jinn, like got all these things, and like I don't regret not putting them on defense. It's just I have too many teams now.
That means you have to set
it's raised
more
more
GLs.
for what you put on defense. Sorry,
Yeah.
what was that?
I was saying that means you have to set more GLs.
Well,
That's
I mean, not that like.
Go ahead, Sanjita.
I was gonna say, yeah, like I don't feel the need to set more GLs. I mean, I have a pretty good season, but it's like I'm combining things I didn't used to combine. I used to use sortie all the time, and I think this season might have been the first one I never set a sortie team. I just put sortie with Rey because I used to look at that as like, oh, it's too expensive. Like it takes up an extra team. But now I don't really think like that anymore. Yeah, and like putting Piet, things like putting Piet with Lord Vader, if I think it makes sense. I'm like, I don't need troopers.
Mm-hmm.
So, sort of to wrap this up a little bit, we're at 56 minutes already. I know time flies. This has been a very interesting discussion. This is not one of the things we talked about ahead of time, but I'm feeling it would be interesting to get all of our takes on it. Given that we now have a relatively low investment time-wise raid, people in the higher roster sizes at least, or ones that are taking the game more seriously and focus on raid and stuff, you have a lot of characters, far more than you really need for GAC. I would say even for the vast majority of people, far more than you need for TW. Like the characters or teams are usually not a limitation in TW, I feel. It's more of the availability of people. So what do you think what would you like to see? Or what would be fun for you in terms of evolution of PvP in this game? Could be TW, could be GAC, but like what would bring more joy or enjoyment or satisfaction to PvP in this game? And I'll start while you guys are thinking, because this is something I think about frequently.
I thought of something. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that the main thing that this game is lacking, that most other aspects of the game have, is a way for you to participate in PvP when you want. And we sort of have that with GAC, where you have 3 days out of the week where you can attack. But contrary to the raid, where you essentially have 3 days, you do it anytime you want. TB, you barely even attack anyway. You do your operations and then a few battles maybe. But all of the other game modes have sort of shifted away from requiring a very specific time, minus Fleet. You still have to do that.
Yeah, Fleet is the outlier.
So I would love if there is some game mode where there was some minimum per week if you wanted to get certain rewards. It would have a skill ranking system similar to GAC, for example, based upon your wins and losses rather than your roster size or something. But it's sort of like a quick battle where you would go in, you would fight, 5 teams, 6 teams, 7 teams. Similar to many other game modes, you could have some element of like ban. You could ban or prevent 1 character, 2 characters, I don't know. There's so many characters, no reason not to do that. You can avoid the meta thing that maybe you don't have. So it sort of evens the playing field a little bit. And you could get it done in 1 hour. Like you'd choose to play, you'd have 1 hour to set your defense, then you could attack for the next 24 hours. But as soon as you finished attacking, if your opponent did too, battle is concluded, you move on, you can do it again. Over and over and over and over again as much as you wanted. That's what I would love to see. Sanjita, what did you have?
Interesting thought. I mean, I just came up with it in a second, but like, what if we had like not a very involved, but a second like garbage GAC where you just pick all the characters you don't think you'll need, and then other people do that, and then you do something. Maybe you face off with each other, or maybe you face off against a bot Grand Arena. Like it'll just auto your stuff, and then you fight like a game generated board or something if we don't want it to be true PvP. But then like those characters you pick can't be used in GAC. Surely if people would abuse that, they'd put like really good characters in their crap Grand Arena. But I don't know, if you do that for some rewards, be a better way to use the rest of your roster, like the bottom.
Interesting. I really would just love some way to do more PvP. And yes, use more of my characters, because I feel so. I always have extra characters finishing TW. Well, TW is not really my choice, but in GAC, I always have teams left over that are good, but there's just nowhere to use them.
Yeah, I got one comment on a video like, oh, you should make a video telling us what to do with these leftover Galactic Legend requirements, and they list all these characters. I'm like, I'm not gonna do a video, but they're bad. Just don't use them. Don't worry about it. They're useless. It's over.
Yeah,
Sounds like a video.
Sort
I
of
need to
sad.
do then. Video about bad characters and how to use them.
There's a time and place, but I think the issue with sometimes that type of content, it can come off like you're encouraging people go like farther than they should. Like, all right, you got us LKR, but why didn't you get your first order special forces type to R8? Like that's probably not great.
You know what's funny, Calvin? Real quick.
on the other hand,
I just unlocked a memory. You did a video maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. No, it was around summertime, so like beginning of summer, and someone linked it to me because it was so funny. Like, this was pure coincidence. I know you weren't been planning this, but like you're talking about like it was like top 5 characters not to take to R8 or R9, and like 4 out of those 5 characters were the last ones I did. Like right as that video went out.
Surprise me
It was
at all.
so funny. I was like, oh my god.
That might have been recent.
Garbo.
That was recent.
It was like over the summer. It was definitely over the summer. It wasn't like in the last month or two.
Okay.
It was like 3 months at least. But it was. I just want to.
Oh, I
that
vaguely
was-
remember
It was
this.
super funny. I was like, what the heck?
I did not realize that that's where you.
No, I know
what
you
were
did it. I
doing,
know you
or
did
what
it.
I was doing
It was
rather.
just perfect timing.
I want to look that up now.
So funny.
That's
so Van Seal, do you have any sort of
Yeah.
wish
So
list or things you would like from?
I'll hit the big 3. I do want to see something happen to ships. So like they've been hinting at ship mods, and we've been talking about ship mods forever. I think we gotta do something with ships. Ship mods I think would be great. GAC, I have no answer for GAC other than just like I kind of like your idea of having like a 24-hour queue system of PvP. I think that'd be really cool. Something to actually just replace GAC, because I don't think you can fix GAC. I think if you increase the board size, you're essentially putting a band-aid over something that's like bleeding out. GAC is not my first language in the game, but like, increasing the board size doesn't help anybody. And I feel like we've just grown past whatever board size they can give us. And if they do increase the board size, it's just more time, and that doesn't really help the issue. So I think a newer version or GAC 2.0 or something to replace the current GAC would be really cool. And then for TW, I would like to see a TW the quality of life. Like TW, I think it's in an okay state, but it's gonna start to get like really, really just crowded now that we have 8 Galactic Legends. And then the one thing I think that could solve a lot of these things is just bring out Relic 10. Bring out Relic 10 and put it behind somewhere to get people more invested in that area. Because I feel like we've had Relic 9 for quite a bit now.
A year and a half or something, right?
It feels like forever. So
It's been like the longest gap of all relics.
yeah, so I feel like Relic 10 would be okay, and that also might encourage people to get more interested in TW, but like I don't know where you'd stick Relic 10 or like what the mats would be. I mean, I know they data mined a bunch of stuff, like new signal data, new like scrap or Relic scrap, whatever you call it, but that was like 2 years ago. So who even knows
Yeah.
if that's even on the, on the timeline for this game anymore. But I think the shortest one would be ship mods. I think ship mods would be kind of interesting, kind of cool to see.
Ship mods would be awesome. That would be amazing. I agree. That is like the
Most people would hate that though.
I think most people. I think you should be very careful what you wish for there, because I mean, I like larger accounts will be okay, I'm sure, regardless. But
I mean,
I don't
yeah,
know,
no, that's
man.
it's gonna suck. It's just gonna be like regular mods. It's gonna suck, like just like Relic sucked when they first came in the game. It's a new. You have to redo the whole thing, but I do think it for ships it is needed. I really do think because I feel like at our level, if we lose in ships, it's because of dodges and just stuff that's out of
it's
our
really
control.
just RNG.
It's out of our
Yeah.
control. There's I don't want to say I don't. And I'm not harping on anybody, but I'm like I feel like there is no skill involved when everything's maxed out for ships. It's just do I hit my hits or not, and do I get the coin flip or not. So, I mean,
More so than any
mods
other
would
game
be
mode, for
nice
sure.
because mods would definitely shake up the meta, 100%.
But would it? But would it really? Because here's the thing: somebody's going to find the optimization, and then that optimization becomes the de facto standard. Like, is it really going to do that, or is it just going to create another leg in the
That
arms
is true.
race?
That is true. Yeah, it's
But
gonna
it's
be
just like you can
another
say
hoop
the
to
same
jump
thing
through. Yeah.
about mods or Datacron.
Unless it's accuracy,
Like-
then I'm on board if it's accuracy.
Accuracy primary forever.
Yeah, if accuracy arrows become
And
God mode in fleet, like everyone's screwed.
Accuracy and potency, those two things.
Like I've
Potency would be
always said, if you can take one mod, and like if you did ship mods, and this is like the end of my little spiel. If you do ship mods, make it where you can use your character mods, but you can only add the cross. That's it. So you get tenacity, you get potency, you get offense,
Yeah.
health, protection, defense. That's it. And
I
whatever
could like it.
whatever stats
Yes.
and whatever stats are
A
on there.
non-speed stat. I like now. There could be a lot of flexibility if speed's off the table. Now we're
Yeah.
cooking with.
Just the cross. It's the only one you're allowed to take over. Put it on a ship.
I like it. That would be cool.
So like a normal cross mod, you put it on a ship.
You equip it,
Those
but it would have
I
no
don't like that
speed
because
impact.
then you need like so many more cross mods. Like those are already a hard one to have like good stuff on.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that. If speed's not included, then just farm whatever.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Task, how about you? Like PvP wise, what would you like to see added, improved, changed, whatever?
I mean, improvement wise, extend TW attack to 36 hours. That's like something I said
yeah.
when they did that overhaul a long time ago. So that is
Agree.
not new. Would love it. Would be like transformative for my guild leadership in terms of their stress. I have nothing to do with any of that. So I'm just delighted and living a carefree, happy life. But I know that those guys absolutely sweat their asses off, herding cats with an international guild. And most of the top TW guilds are international. So that's a huge quality of life thing. And then as far as GAC goes, I think Van Seal's right that I think an eventual like whole replacement for Grand Arena as it is right now is probably the best way to do it, because continuing to expand the board will increase the time requirements, and that will price a certain number of players out of being able to play GAC, because they just know it's like, look, right now it's like 105 minutes to clear all of the squads, and now it's going to go up to 120 minutes, and then I still have to do 15 minutes of fleets. I just can't play this game anymore. So probably some whole replacement is a good call there. As far as adding something new, what if we had something like Exhibition Grand Arena, where you sign up, everybody's given the same Cadillac account with the latest and greatest. All right. Everything's maxed. You have the same inventory of just tricked out, cracked out mods. And, we could set however type of schedule that is. Like, certainly it would be in parallel to normal GAC. So it's opt-in, not instead of. And the rewards for it could be character shards for some of these, more recent marquee characters, something like that. Something that isn't crystals, because again, the idea would be, this is Exhibition, this is fun. You want to, you're months or years away from having all this stuff. Jump on in, and however well you do, you get some character shards for characters you probably don't have anyway. But at the same time, you actually get to get your feet wet with some of this stuff that you're otherwise forever away from getting to touch.
I really like that.
That
idea.
sounds fun, but I don't think they'd ever do that because there's no incentive on their side. It's just like if you're playing with like
A-
I don't know,
draft-
decked out.
I feel like
draft.
I feel like you're right. Like there isn't a. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying like you're probably right that they're like the argument if I'm pitching this to the CG person in the room, it's like there are a lot of people that won't pursue your new marquee releases because they can't see it as applicable for them. Just doing the event, allowing you to play in that wee little sandbox with it, teaches you what the ability does. It doesn't teach you how you are using it in a real environment. If you wanted to give your players the sense that it's like, oh man, I got to spend a few minutes playing with this new team and I got to pick how I put it together. I have this idea. This is a cracked out team. We're a week away from the next GAC Open. I am going to whale out to have that marquee because I got to play with this idea ahead of time that I otherwise would not have been able to do without shelling out $400 first. Like, I feel like there could be that argument, but to your point, like, as far as the man hours required to develop all this and put it out versus what they actually expect in terms of increased revenue, probably a very pie in the sky kind of dream, but you asked.
I think it's actually a lot closer than you think, Tass, because like they're already doing that with Conquest, but it's just in like a really bad execution. Like you can use the new Moff Gideon before he comes out and playtest with them, but it's like great, you're also playtesting with data discs, stamina, and stuff that isn't applicable to any part of the game. So why do I care?
Yeah.
But having like a draft sealed type of GAC where like let's say you just open like a Chromium pack or something like that, and it just spits out the characters maxed out. That would be kind of cool.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, drag that draft mechanic into.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. That
That'd
sounds
be really
fun.
interesting, and everyone's guaranteed like one Galactic Legend or something like that. Like, could you imagine?
And the pool for this would only be like I don't know,
It'd be
stuff
seasonal
released
pools. It'd be seasonal pools like Datacrons.
Okay, sure. Yeah. But
you go.
the emphasis would be on stuff that was released relatively recently, things that people would otherwise have had to have really shelled out.
You'd include everything that's currently in the Datacron meta, so you can use your Datacrons, and then new stuff.
I think you guys are getting a little bit too far in the weeds. I'm getting hungry here.
All right. Last person, Calvin, to wrap this up. What do you think you would like to see changed, modified, new, whatever, for competitive PvP in Galaxy of Heroes?
I'm pretty set with the way GAC is. The only thing that I would think would be interesting for TW, and it's we don't need to have a whole conversation on it, but splitting almost like into, not to get super sporty about it, but like a varsity and a junior varsity team within the guild itself that could either be made to work more around geographical things like time zones, and then or just to be more competitive. And that way, at least at the top end, you would kind of cut out the sandbagging thing, unless you have guild. I mean, you can't join a TW with less than 25 people. So if the top guilds are always having 25, because everyone else who's after that gets relegated. But the only issue with that is it becomes more officer heavy to decide who goes where. But I think it would be an interesting way, because that would allow for you to do a lot of teamwork within it, but also be able to do more things with the board and change the board up without having this thing on the back of like, okay, so we have to wait for all 50 people to get on to be able to handle this one thing now.
Yeah, that part is the whole coordination thing with TW is frustrating, to say the least, I think. All right. Well, with that, thank you, Calvin. Thank you, Tasnex, Van Seal, Sanjita. Thank you all for your time. We weren't as prompt this time, 13 whole minutes over the hour.
Totally on me, probably.
No. I mean, this is from when we started, not from when you were late. You'll have to wear a hat every single time now, Tass. So thank you all very much for showing up to another one of the councils, and hopefully we talk again next month, next season.
Yeah, thanks everybody. See you guys.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Cheers. Have a good one, everybody.